I suspect that people would be better off if they spent more time producing content for a personal YouTube channel or some kind of personal website on which they would share their hobbies and their thoughts on things and all of the types of experiences that you would get from interacting with someone in person. And the reason I think this is that one of the major problems we have in society nowadays is that people move around so much and they switch jobs so much that wherever you are, you're usually surrounded by people that you haven't known for a very long time. And anytime you're meeting new people, it can be awkward at first to get to know them. And if you think about the circumstances in which humans evolved, usually people were in villages. I'm talking, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years ago. Usually you would grow up around the same people your entire life, in some small village or family unit. And you had an incentive to treat people well because anything that you did, any behavior that you had, would be remembered by everyone that you were interacting with for the rest of your life. And so, for example, it would be in your interest to be friendly with someone, to do someone a favor, because you knew that that person was going to be living with you for the rest of your life. And you knew that if you did them a favor this time, there was a good chance that in the future there would be some situation in which you would need a favor and that person would be able to help you. As opposed to, for example, nowadays, if you live in a modern city, if you meet some random stranger on the street, if you do that person a favor, the odds are that you're never going to see that person again, and that person will not return the favor. And so this is something that I noticed when I switched between being in college and living outside Manhattan, was that in college I felt that I had an incentive to be nice to everybody because I knew that I was going to continue to interact with them. Whereas when I was living outside Manhattan, I would get on the bus and I would be surrounded by people that I would probably never see again. And so it was just a very different vibe. People were much less friendly when they don't have an incentive to be friendly. And so to bring us back to the YouTube idea, I think that if you share your thoughts and your opinions and you share yourself online, all of that is retained. If I record a YouTube video and I leave it on my YouTube channel, that stays there for the rest of my life. And anyone who's interested in learning about me can go to my YouTube channel and they can learn what I think about anything, anything that I put up there. And so as opposed to, for example, if I move to some new city and I spend, let's say, a few weeks in my spare time, let's suppose that I spend my spare time getting to know people that live in that area, hanging out, doing the typical things that people do, going to a bar or whatever, just spending time with people. There's a very good chance, it's almost guaranteed, that all of those people that I'm hanging out with are going to go their separate ways. I'm not going to be hanging out with them in a few months. And so, in a sense, that time has, I don't want to say been wasted, but it may not have been spent as productively as it could have been. And so it's one of the major ideas that Warren Buffett talks about in finance and investing your money is the idea of compound interest, where you invest a little bit of money and then that money earns more money, and then you have even more money, and then that larger sum of money is still earning interest, and the money and the interest gradually compound on each other, and over time you get a fantastic result. It's really surprising how much you can get from that initial starting point, as long as you're investing your money in a way that compounds. The problem is that the way people are spending their time nowadays, it seems as though it's not compounding in the same way. And so for that reason, I think that in the future, people are going to be spending more time recording things on YouTube and maybe less time investing in relationships that are not likely to last as long.